We are unapologetically Indigenous, rooted in the past, present, and future. We span the globe with the blood memory of our ancestors coursing through our veins. On Indigenous Peoples Day, much like every day, we hold them up in gratitude. They resisted, organized, and survived so we could claim this day and thrive, teaching us the language of self-determination and the medicine of laughter. Today, while we continue to tear down systems of oppression, we also reimagine and build new systems in their place. Indigenous people are the future.
Danjo Shike relatives, my name is Brandy Calabaza and I'm a communications associate here at NDN Collective. We're tuning in from downtown Phoenix for Indigenous Peoples Day. We have a good event going on here, and me and Steph, my lovely co-host Steph here, are going to be taking you through the event space. We're going to be talking to some wonderful people for Indigenous Peoples Day, and also highlighting some of the great content that we at NDN Collective have brought to you. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic to Steph and let them introduce themselves.
Thanks, Brandy. It feels really good to be here today, everybody. I'm Steph Vieira, Yate. I'm Danette and Salvadorian. I use they, them pronouns. And we're here today on Autumn and Peeposh lands, aka Phoenix, Arizona, at the Cahokia Phoenix Fest, the Indigenous Peoples Day celebration. And we're just going to walk around, show you the venue a little bit. Some of the NDN Collective tables. We have 9 tables here today. And then, but first we're going to chat with somebody from Cahokia, which is an Indigenous-led, female-owned art space and event space. And that kind of, seeped out into the city for Indigenous Peoples Day. So we're really excited to be here today and chat with you. And yeah, thanks for being here.
Thanks. We're going to awkwardly be passing the mic back and forth. So let's go talk to Candace. Candace is one of the organizers of this event. She's part of the Cahokia team. And then I will let Steph take it away.
Cool. Thanks, Brandy. Well, hi, Candace. It's nice to meet you face to face beyond Zoom.
No more Zoom meetings.
Yeah, no more Zoom meetings. So we kind of want to just talk to you today, about the event and the planning, and then our partnership with NDN Collective and Cahokia. Just tell us about, today and how you're feeling, all that.
So I walked down the street, where we have the vendor market, and into the skate comp area, and I nearly almost broke down in tears because it's so freaking awesome how many people have showed up today, and it just blows my mind. We have been planning this since early this year, since April, and because we were able to reach out through all of our connections, different artists, different entrepreneurs that we've developed relationships with, and of course our sponsors and NDN Collective as well. This is all made possible. It literally took villages, right, to put this event together. But I handle the PR and media for the Cahokia team, and so I kind of feel like in the Wizard of Oz they have that guy, the Oz, just kind of behind the scenes making everything run and work, and that's kind of how I see my role here. So it's been really exciting, and I'm just so thankful that we're able to actually activate the space for our Indigenous people. We are on the unceded ancestral lands of the O'odham people, the O'odham and Peeposh, who live in the surrounding areas outside of the city limits here. But as you can see, there's so much of that Otham pride that's here. We even have 7-Layer Army, which is a skateboard company owned by Otham men who are hosting the Downtown Showdown skateboard competition. So it's just so many ways that we're able to kind of bridge the community, you know, because we're city Indians for the most part in here, but being able to invite all the vendors, artists that are in neighboring tribal communities to come out, show out, have support, and know that we'll back them too, so that they're amplified and that their work is acknowledged and appreciated. It's so huge. It's such an honor.
Yeah, definitely. It's been honestly a real honor just coming into Phoenix over the weekend and then getting to be with everybody that we've chatted with for months, you know, planning this event. And it's just an honor to be a partner with you. And yeah, I'm just so excited. I know our whole team is like really amped to be here and also just build community. It's been really tough, you know, with the past couple of years. And I think spaces like Cahokia are really important for our communities to bond and just form intertribal connections, right? And to grow the visibility of Indigenous people, right? And also, like, I really appreciate that this space is women-owned and Indigenous women-owned. Like, that's so important because if you think about it, like, our societies are matriarchal, and even in a modern scope, that's expanding, right? So I really appreciate what you all do here, and it just feels so good to, like, see this come to life, right?
Yeah.
After all of the you know, the planning and the virtual planning, like, it's
stress and just, yeah, and making sure that, you know, we're getting a wide representation of, you know, there's 22 tribes here in Arizona, so we wanted to make sure we had outreach to every tribal community, and I feel like we've been able to pull in almost everyone, you know, to come out and either vend or do live art or be a part of the fashion show. And I mean, it's awesome and it's amazing, but at the same time, like you said, it is about, you know, there's a lot of like degentrification. There's a lot of real important issues that matter to us as Indigenous people living in Phoenix. I mean, we're in a desert and we're fighting for our water, you know, we're fighting for our land. And so anytime that we can activate the space but also empower and give people resources and information so that they can be allies or advocates on our behalf too, kind of helps us build that larger community and really raise awareness and, you know, maybe even petition on things that we really care about that really matter and like improve the quality of lives for Indigenous people.
Right, that's so important. Thank you for sharing that. I guess, like, a question I have is how can NDN Collective and our audience really get involved with Cahokia if they are in the area, but also, you know, virtually, how can they get in touch with you? And, you know, what if they do want to have an event or something like that, or an artist and want insight on how to, you know, gain visibility, things like that?
Yeah, so we have a saying at Cahokia when we have people who come in to visit from all across Turtle Island. We say, you know, what would you do if you had this space? How would you activate it? And we've had people say, well, I'd do a photo exhibit, or I'd do a fashion show, or I'd have a concert. And then we're like, yes, let's do that. Like, let's run with it. The way that people can get involved, of course, is to follow us on our social media. We're at Cahokia PHX on both Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They can also reach out to, and you know, Cahokia is a collection of entrepreneurs, creatives, designers, directors. So, for instance, I'm a member of Cahokia. My business is Badger PR. So I have people, you know, who will reach out and they want to get more information about Cahokia and how they can be a part of some of the activations. So any one of us, you know, I've got Badger PR is my company, but then Melody is a co-founder and her company is Indigenous CC. Unique is Indigi-Design Collective. So there's any way that people can reach out. Follow our socials. If they're in town, come through. Like, we've always got that welcome mat out for all of our Indigenous relatives across Turtle Island.
Awesome. Thank you, Candace. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's really been nice to chat with you and hear about your space and the beautiful event that you put together today. Like, I know that we're really grateful, and yeah, I really look forward to, you know, more in the future.
Me too. Yeah. I'm really excited. Like, I can't wait to have just a wrap party celebration, even if we're just high-fiving after the night, because we've all been working really hard. I know your team came out a couple days early, like, you know, scoped out the place. Like, we just really wanted to make this as special and, you know, as impactful as we could. And it's actually helping to, you know, families are going to get fed and they're going to be able to pay their bills because they've been able to sell their goods and their art today, and that's really important too. So it's all possible with the work that you guys are doing with us and for us, so we're just looking for any more of those opportunities in the future.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Candace.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Cool. All right, fam. We just heard from Candace and Juana of Cahokia, Phoenix. I'm going to pass it off to Baza so we can go chat with our NDN team.
Thanks, Steph. And then it's a little awkward here to walk around everybody and do this live stream. So thanks for tuning in with us. Yeah, like Candace touched, you know, our team showed up to do a lot of engagement work here with NDN Collective and just outreach to the community. Part of our team was actually out at the Grandmakers in Arts Conference in New York City, and they actually did some panels. So if you go back to our YouTube channel, you're able to access those panels. But we're coming up on our tables, NDN Collective tables. Like Steph mentioned, we have 9 tables touching on various works, voter engagement, you know, gifting out NDN swag. We have voter registration here for people that are located within the community. And yeah, just a lot of interaction. We have our SkoVoteDen campaign that we actually just launched our website. So if you're tuning in from home, be sure to access that fresh website that we just launched a few weeks ago. It touches on our SkoVoteDen initiative work. And yeah, we have one person that we want to talk to here about our voter engagement work, but she's a little held up. So yeah, we can go ahead and look at these beautiful tables. We have some voter registration. Again, if you're in the area, please come and get your voter registration complete. We have Phoenix Indian Center and very just great partners with the NDN Collective, and definitely want to get that Native vote out there. It's important for our communities to have our representation within the voting. And yeah, it looks like Janine is held up here. So we're going to go ahead and come back to her. Sorry about that, fam. Okay. We have some awesome Indian swag here. As we see, we have some awesome fans. If you're in the area, come out and check it out. We were going to talk to Janine, but it looks like she's a little held up at the moment. So we can go ahead and show you around what's going on. Like Candace mentioned, we have some awesome interactive settings here downtown. The Phoenix Suns actually came out, and they have an awesome event for kids to come and you know, hang out with the fam. We have some great Indian vendors, and another main stage on the side here hosted by Natives Guitar Tour. Jerry Anderson is actually the founder of that, and he put on a free concert on the outside. So if you're not able to access the ticketed event in the Churchill, which is an NDN sponsored event, you have access to this free music event here. We have some photo booths, and yeah, it's just really beautiful. Some Native representation out here. Some beautiful vendors, like Candace mentioned, bringing in that Native representation in arts, music, crafts. So definitely come out and support local organizations. And here's the Phoenix Suns event. They came out, the team, to support the Native community, and it looks pretty awesome here. We have some basketball, we have photo opportunities, we have some pictures with team members of the Phoenix Suns. And just definitely beautiful. We have the Arizona Cardinals here too, who are coming out to outreach with the Native community. And as you'll see, some of that Native NDN swag is being represented here. And super beautiful. We have some beautiful photo opportunities as well. So if you're in the area, come out and check this out. It's definitely 3 or 4 blocks of different events, arts, music, and painting. And yeah, I don't know, Steph, you want to add anything? How are you feeling about being here today?
Sure, I feel good right now. I mean, I didn't get to explore this part of the event earlier. Everything was getting set up, so I'm really excited to see the Phoenix Suns. It's super cool. Looks like we got Native Women Entrepreneurs Arizona over there. You can take some photos with that sign that says the future is Indigenous women, and it absolutely is. We've got some amazing vendors that were selling their art. And that's like the one thing that you should be doing today is not only if you are Indigenous, you should be resting. You should be existing. And if you're non-Native, you should be supporting Indigenous people. You should be buying Indigenous art, supporting organizations like Cahokia, like NDN Collective, our partners, Illuminative, Native Organizers Alliance, who is here as well. So hopefully we can chat with them a little bit. Yeah, maybe we can shoot some hoops with the Phoenix Suns. I don't know. Yeah, but at our NDN Collective table today, we have recently relaunched the SkoVoteDen website, so definitely check that out. It's SkoVoteDen.com. If you're in the Phoenix area, this event is absolutely free to the public. We do have the VIP stage tonight, concert, full, and fashion show of some NDN Collective artists. And that event is $50 for tickets. They might be going on a discount today for a limited time. But if you show up to the event, the whole block is free. So definitely come out. There's tons of stuff to do, tons of freebies, tons of food. There also is going to be the Native Guitars Tour event, free concert, and a skateboarding competition.
Thanks, Deb. It's amazing. And yeah, you know, today is Indigenous Peoples Day, and we as NDN Collective released some awesome content. We released the Indigenous Peoples Day blog that you should definitely go read, that touches on some of the reflections of our staff and the importance of Indigenous Peoples Day and why it's so significant. But we're going to go ahead and circle back to the NDN Collective SkoVoteDen table, and we're going to talk to Janine Yazzie, who is our Southwest Regional Director. And yeah, hi, Janine.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Oh yeah, is it hot?
It is a little hot, but I'm from here, so it's actually a really nice day. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, can you speak a little bit to the importance of, you know, our SkoVoteDen table here at NDN Collective and what you're hoping to achieve in outreach into the community?
Well, I think it's very important, particularly in states like Arizona, to get our people mobilized and around a shared understanding about how important it can be and influential it can be when we exercise certain rights. And with the SkoVoteDen project, it's really about elevating, one, that there is power there that can be exercised as a tactic, and two, that here in particular, it becomes even more important because of the issues that we're facing and how important it is to be aware of and to have a say in the people that are making decisions around things that affect us in our future. And in the Southwest, like, our biggest issues are around, and shared issues, right? Shared issues felt by everyone, are around water and how water is managed, and in reality, how water is being abused in the state, and to the detriment of the health, the well-being, the adaptability of Indigenous peoples on the Navajo and Hopi nations, but also throughout the entire Southwest. Like, we are held under water apartheid here. And having a say and exercising the right to determine who gets in these offices to exercise those decisions is vitally important. And that's one of the strategies that we invest in to shift power. Like, it's just one of many, right? Like, it's also just as important to just get people mobilized and believing again that when we work together in every way, like, we can really change the conditions that our communities are feeling. And that's what we're here to resource.
Beautiful, Janine. Thank you for touching on that, especially the water, right? It comes in, it's so scarce, and Indigenous peoples actually have a lot of value in contributing to how water is managed because of our Indigenous knowledge. So it's so beautiful that you're touching on, you know, modern ways that Native people can come out and help and get their voices heard. So thank you so much. And how has the turnout been today? Has it been great? Have you been getting a lot of registrants?
Oh my God, the turnout has been amazing. I'm not doing voter registration. I'm really talking about the entirety of the programming, including what NDN Collective is doing for the Southwest Regional Deep Dive, right, which is looking at how to strategically deploy our resources to help movement building down here in the Southwest. And one of the first things that I think was really phenomenal in how Indian is approaching this is defining the Southwest in a larger way across Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, California, and northern Mexico. Like a geography that's very big, but that connects our peoples based on our experiences with colonization and our ongoing like resource issues and challenges to our sovereignty. And just ways to build solidarity and coalition building around defense of land and water. And so I think it's important to know that SkoVoteDen is an important project, but it's one of the many ways that Indian is like resourcing power. And in the Southwest, with our Southwest programming, it's specifically about building power among those who are fighting in defense of our land and our waters.
Beautiful. Thanks, Janine. So, here at NDN Collective, we definitely want to leave our audience with different ways that they can become involved. So what advice would you give to people who are a little hesitant to, approaching voting and getting their voices out there? But what first steps or any advice that you could provide to them and really, approaching and taking that first step?
Well, being someone that was largely anti-vote, like for my adolescent years and like young adulthood, right? Because I understand all of the reasons. I think what helped me, I can't say what's going to help other people, but what helped me was recognize that this is just a tactic. It's just one of the many tools that we need to use to put pressure in any way possible on everything that affects our communities. And it's an important one. If you see how hard Bill Lagana's fight to protect their right to vote and keep other people from doing it, right? You recognize that it's probably one we should be paying attention to and exercising a little bit of agency in, because we can't keep buying into this myth that we don't have agency or that we shouldn't exercise agency because it legitimizes this system. No, our agency is our biggest power. And when we exercise it, we change things in whatever way we decide to exercise it. And we need all those strategies happening in real time.
Awesome. Thanks, Janine. We appreciate it. And we see you have some awesome QR codes that I'm assuming go to our new SkoVoteDen website, yeah?
No, they go to our online store, actually. We have some that do go to our SkoVoteDen website. But we had a lot of requests for our merchandise, which is important to note. Every purchase goes back into us and our programming, and being able to get more merchandise to communities for free.
Cool. Well, thank you for talking to us, Janine. And like she said, we have QR codes that go to our online store. And if you haven't seen it today, we just launched our Land Back magazine, which is available on our online store now, and definitely touches on a lot of what Janine was talking about, getting involved in your community and getting out there and really getting those voices out there where they need to be and advocating for our Indigenous communities. So thank you, Janine. Come stop by our SkoVoteDen. We have some awesome swag. Janine has an awesome little fan that she's using, which is definitely useful in this heat. It's humid, so definitely want to stay cool. Take care of yourself, relatives. And we're going to go ahead and come back to Steph, who's going to talk to our president and CEO, Nick Tilson.
Woo woo. Thanks, Baza. I hope you all enjoyed talking to Janine Yazzie, our badass Southwest Regional Director. And now we're going to go over to our president and CEO, the Wild Oglala, Nick Tilson.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, Nick?
Well, nothing, just chilling out here, Indigenous Peoples Day, out here in Phoenix. My first time out here to this event, and honored to be out here partnering with Cahokia and celebrating Indigenous revolution and resistance. I was thinking about this all day today, actually, about how this day is like a reminder to the colonizers and to the federal government and to all the nation states across the world that you weren't successful. You weren't successful at killing us. You weren't successful at erasing us. You weren't successful at taking our children or destroying our land. And we've already been to the bottom, we already been to the bottom. And so to me, I'm like, we're fighting for something that's going to be able to move our whole people forward. And so it's unreal, to be sitting here and there's literally millions of people all across the country in this part of the hemisphere who are celebrating on this day and celebrating the resiliency of Indigenous people. And so as we celebrate this day and continue to send this reminder, I'm also reminded of the millions of Indigenous people who gave their lives for us to still be here to this day, and for that many of the people who have stood up against these colonial states and these colonial governments, and many of us who will continue to stand up against these colonial governments and states, and that how important it is for us to do this, because we didn't fight for just to have a celebration one day, to have a day on some calendar, that one day that uplifts our people. This day is not about that. This day is about where we come from, and where we're going as a people, and where we're going as a movement. And there's a lot of stuff on the horizon that we got to keep on the fight for. I mean, we cannot lay dormant. What's happening with the potential ruling coming down from the Supreme Court around Indian Child Welfare Act that could affect every single Native person across this country and our children is detrimental. There's an assault on our sovereignty. So at the same time that we're out here celebrating and we're out here reminding the world that we're still here, there's the forces that be that are trying to violate our human rights, to take our children away from us. And so we got to stay vigilant. I mean, we got to continue to rise up. And so my hope is that as we use this day to catch our breath and hopefully tear down some statues, that we have fights that we need to use this moment to mobilize forward. And so these are things that we need to keep bringing to surface. Every single time that there's a natural disaster, just like happened in Alaska, what happened with Puerto Rico, those are things that are reminding us, that's Mother Earth telling us that the decisions that we are making are destroying Mother Earth, and Mother Earth is losing her ability to maintain life on this earth. And so we have to keep rising up against the colonial governments and the corporations that are destroying Mother Earth. And so I think of all these things on this day, and when it comes to voting, I'll come right out and say this: I don't believe in the federal government or the U.S. government any more than the next person. I don't trust the government. We have no reason to trust the government. We have no reason to trust any of that. But if we're fighting for liberation of our people, and then I'm going to use every single tactic available to me in that fight. And if I have an ability to cast a vote to influence who I am sitting across the table with, then hell yeah, I'm going to use that power, because I'm all about any means necessary, whether it be voting, taking to the streets, buying land, occupying land, any one of these things. And so I think of those things as tactics. I think of voting as a tactic. I don't think of it as the end all be all. You're never going to find me like being a flag waving, indigenous person who's supportive of this so-called democracy. But it doesn't mean that I'm not going to go vote on election day. So anyway, these are the things that are like in my thoughts, in my minds, as we're out here talking with people and letting people know who we are and what we're about.
Thanks, Nick. That was well said.
Absolutely.
Well summarized about what Indigenous Peoples Day has culminated to presently, right? Mm-hmm. And like this day is about multitudes of things. This day is about so many things like NDN Collective is doing now, right? For example, you brought up voting as a tactic. SkoVoteDen. We need to let the people know that that's an option, but it's not the only solution.
Oh yeah.
And that's the importance of this day, right? We had many ways that we were able to celebrate in a way, but we still have more work to do.
Absolutely. And that's true in NDN Collective too. I mean, NDN Collective, voting is only one small part of what we're out there promoting, We support many, many frontline struggles. Ourselves as organizers fight on the front lines. We are building schools We're building food systems, we're rebuilding, and all the people that are skeptics of the land back movement who said, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when you get the land back? I was like, shit, we're already doing it. We're already building schools, we're already building housing, we're already building food systems, and so are Indigenous people everywhere. And NDN Collective's ecosystem is a toolbox to support them in that struggle. Because there's nothing more Indigenous than supporting other Indigenous people in their own self-determination while they're defending and developing and decolonizing on their own terms. And so in many ways, like, what NDN Collective is doing, we're doing so many different things, but it's actually very simple at the end of the day. Indigenous people that are from their communities, you know, that are doing that work, they know what the solutions are because they have the blood, sweat, tears, and lived experience. So we're investing into that. And we're investing into their leadership into that in a variety of different ways. You know, whether it be our lending arm of funding new food systems or funding a just transition away from fossil fuels, whether it be funding, you know, communities that are doing direct action on the front lines, whether people are doing mobilizations to get people out to vote so that they have an impact on who their decision-making power, that are people that are making decisions over the lives of their land and their people, or whether we're creating brand new solutions that are both based in traditional ecological knowledge and wisdom, while at the same time recognizing that we are in the 21st century and we're creating new culture today. You know, culture is not something that was long ago. It's right here, right now. It lives in our resistance and our reality. And so, you know, being a part of NDN Collective and being part of the land back movement, it's an honor to be a part of that because it's the right thing to be doing right now at this point in history. And so, and I think that being out here in the streets and talking to people, communicating with people, you know, we're getting much love from people, but we're also spreading much love and supporting people in very, very, very real ways, not performative ways, not ways that make it look like we're supporting people, but actually shifting resources and actually shifting power, you know, on their terms, you know.
Definitely. I totally agree. I think from what I've experienced being at NDN Collective is that we're about forming relationships. We're about, like you said, redistributing power to our own communities, right? And that's part of our future building, is making sure that we're in arms with each other and that we are, you know, helping one another fill the gaps, right? Where we can finally achieve liberation.
Well, and the stats speak for themselves. I mean, for every $1 that a white person has in this country, a Native person has 8 cents. In my home community, in my home region, we make up, in South Dakota, we make up 9% of the population in South Dakota, but are responsible for 52% of the people that are incarcerated in jails or in prisons in South Dakota. That's ground zero. That's ground zero for over-incarceration of any group of people in this country. That's insane. And so these are things that are very, very real, that are impacting Indigenous people's lives today, right now. You know, in education, Native American children in South Dakota have the lowest economic and education mobility than any child in America. And what this means, what economic and education mobility means, is the ability to move, to be able to move and advance their education, to be able to have mobility in advancing their ability to get out of poverty and be able to create a livelihood for themselves. And so when you have a place like that that has the lowest economic and education mobility, you create despair and hope. Or you just create despair and lack of hope. And it's our job to combat that. It's our job to create new solutions that change the power structures, that absolutely change the power structures that directly impacts the lives of children and families and people. And that's the work we're doing at NDN Collective. I mean, we're going to redistribute in a historic thing in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota between $40 and $50 million over the next 4 to 5 years to try to close that gap. But the coolest thing that I like about that project that Collective Abundance Fund is working on, that we're housing here at NDN Collective, is that we had an opportunity to redefine what wealth is, not based on American corporate and capitalistic terms of what wealth is. Because part of us is like, well, we want to close the racial wealth gap, right? But we don't want to just create indigenous capitalists. We want to make sure that our people are whole, that our people actually have that well-being, culture, language, spirituality, healing are all parts of what we think about when we actually think about wealth on indigenous terms. Our ability to feed ourselves, it's not based on a GDP model. It's not based on gross domestic product, you know. We need to create our own indigenized version of that. And I feel like we're on the pathway to starting to do that. And all of the solutions that are coming out of that have come from the people. All we're doing as an organization is just a facilitator. Really, NDN is just the toolbox. It's the facilitator of change. The real change lives in the hearts and the minds and the work that the people are doing everywhere. And also to remind everybody that us here at the collective, all of us are of this movement, of this community, and of this people. And we're also learning how to utilize this tool to help revolutionize our communities and solve many of these problems that have been, you know, systemically happening over time. So, you know, those are the things that I get up every day to think about and fight for, you know, here at NDN Collective, and things that come to my mind on Indigenous Peoples Day, you know.
Right, because Indigenous people are Indigenous people every single day. And I mean, today we get to be together, right, and say Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. But it makes me think, like, you said something about, you know, talking about wealth building and what that looks like in a modern scope for Indigenous people. And I think of our grantees, right, or our fellows who are also showing us the way. They're also doing the work that, you know, is so important, where they're building language space to learn. They're, you know, building art, visibilizing the people after so many years. There's so many tribes that aren't, you know, federally recognized, and that doesn't matter, but they're preserving and, you know, presenting themselves to the world, because that helps in the systems building as well.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, no, one last thing I was going to say that, like, that I think about that kind of gets me excited is that you travel to any indigenous community anywhere, urban or rural, you will find fucking revolutionaries. You will find fighters. You will find grandmothers, grandfathers, aunties, uncles, relatives that have fought so much for the basic rights that we have now. The fact that we get I got to be raised up in the ceremonies. I didn't have to fight for the right to practice my ceremonies. My parents fought for that right? But I benefited from that. So my starting point is totally different than theirs. And I think that sometimes in this struggle, in the land back movement, and in the indigenous revolutionary struggle, we forget to pay homage to our elders and to our ancestors who sacrificed so much for this opportunity to be here. And I think that we have to continue to make that a practice, and we have to continue to make that a practice of supporting our indigenous revolutionaries that are in every single village, in every single tribe, every single neighborhood, every single res, every single barrio, fucking everywhere, to lean into uplifting them and telling their stories, because it's going to inform our strategy. So when you do that, it's going to help us sharpen our spear, because we ain't fucking done fighting. We have a duty, because they forwarded that to us. We have yet a responsibility to rise up today. And so that's like, for me, when I rise up, when I fight the way that I fight and stand up for the things that I stand up for, it's like the way to honor them. Because talk is fucking cheap. Anybody can say whatever the hell they say, but actions is what matter. What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to stand up for? And that's why, like back home, you know, back in the Hesapa, back in Mini-Luzaha, some of the main supporters of NDN Collective are the old people, are our elders, because they know that we're not afraid. And that's what they wanted for us. They wanted for us to not be afraid. And so all the time when we go out there, there's all these elders who this makes them feel good. This resistance makes them feel good because it gives them hope to recognize that we're not hanging our head low anymore. You know, and we're gonna take both our traditional knowledge that we have along with the lessons learned in this modern society and sharpen a spear to create revolutionary change. So that's the thing that I like the most is talking with the old people. You know, they show up for us. We don't even have to ask them; they show up, and that's an indicator that we're doing something that's good. You know, we're doing something that, like in Lakota we say "Pilawa chienk dalo," it means like you're doing something that will benefit the people. You know, and therefore, like, we don't have to defend what we're doing because our actions speak for ourselves. You know, I'm always reminded of those things that were taught with us, you know, in many of our ceremonies. So I think about all that stuff as we're out here, you know, on the streets and celebrating, you know.
Yeah, well, you heard it there, everybody. Sit with your elders at the dinner table tonight and get those stories, and also be motivated, pay gratitude to them, because they're the reason why we are able to do so many things that we are today, right? And so thank you, Nick, for bringing down Indigenous Peoples Day 2022 with us here, telling us what NDN Collective is doing, and, you know, just imagining a better future for our people. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Also, too, I want to give a shout out to this comms team, Steph, to Lorenzo, to Brandy, to Willie, and to Jordan and Sarah and all the comms people that are on. Like, you probably wouldn't know about what the fuck we're doing if it wasn't for this team, that shit is real. And I don't always think about it either, because we do this work, you know, and we're just doing the work. But if we're not communicating that we're doing this work, it's not providing the reach that it needs to. And so I know there's always like people behind the scenes every single time that NDN Collective, you know, shows up to support a community to really bring that to light. And so I just wanted to give mad respect for all of the work that you all do, and to let the people who are listening and following NDN Collective is that there's a bunch of badass Indigenous people fucking working really hard to bring this to you. And a lot of times you don't see these people because they're behind the camera, like Lorenzo is right there, you know. And it's a reminder of that, of how much work it takes to pull this off in our movement. So much love and much gratitude for all the commitments and sacrifices that you all make too to our people and to our movement, and for bringing and making it accessible, making the work that we're doing accessible to the people. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. All right. Well, that was an awesome interview, right, Baza? Well, I'm really, my heart is full from that last bit, but all right. Do you want to take it away, Baza? Show us to our next spot?
Yeah, sure. Definitely, you know, Nick really touched on how our team really shows up in these spaces, and it's a lot of gratitude on our part to be a part of these events and to bring so much of our ecosystem out here. And it's so beautiful to be in space with other Indigenous peoples, and really show, you know, NDN Collective is here for all peoples. We're here, we want to show up for all of you, whether you're in the Southwest, you're in the Plains, you know, you're overseas. We definitely want to show up for all our Indigenous peoples, and definitely shout out to our other comms members who, again, were in New York City today at the Grant Makers in the Arts conference in New York City. So if you want to check those panels out, they're available on our YouTube channel. And so, yeah, we're going to go ahead and walk you through this space. I don't think y'all understand the magnitude of how awesome this is. We literally took over 2-3 blocks of downtown Phoenix, and that's freaking amazing. So we're going to go ahead and give you a view of what's going on and how many vendors we really have here. We have a lot of representation from throughout the Southwest region. We have a lot of great artists who are selling their beautiful craft and their art. And I think, you know, if you're in the area, definitely come out and support. This is how, you know, our people make their livelihood, is through their beautiful art, and this is how they provide for their families. So definitely want to get their word out there. We have a lot of painters. We have a lot of jewelry. So again, if you're in the area, definitely come out and support us. So yeah, sorry, a little pile up here. We're gonna go ahead and come through. Yeah, and like if you hear the music rocking, we definitely have some music going now. So definitely, and it's a lot cooler. So if you're in the area, definitely come through. It's not as hot as it was before. And yeah, if you see, we have so many vendors, so many beautiful vendors just showcasing their beautiful art. We have these beautiful jewelers here. Lorenzo's doing an awesome job showing us, the scope of just how Indigenous peoples are showing up in all spaces: music, arts, clothing, modeling, everything of that sort. And it's just so beautiful. Yeah, and the area we were really interviewing in was only half of it. We have this other stage on this side here. Obviously, if you can hear it rocking, we'll go ahead and circle back when we come back. And this is where we're at. We have a lot of beautiful people. We're going to catch up with Steph again. All right, well, it looks like we're going to have one more conversation here. Okay, hold on. Sorry about that. But check out this work, y'all. So beautiful. We have a little coin purse here. We have some bags. We have some earrings. There's some bows, some Masani scarves. You definitely want to go out and show out for your people on Indigenous Peoples Day. We have Zoe giving you some awesome shots of this beautiful artwork. Again, if you're in the area, we're in downtown Phoenix near Churchill. We took over 2 to 3 blocks of downtown Phoenix. So much Indigenous representation. If you're in the area, please come join us. We have music, we have food, we have art, and we just have a good Indigenous energy going on here. So many people are coming through today. It's so beautiful. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Brandy. I'm with NDN Collective. Do you mind if we talk to you for a little bit? Cool. No worries. It's a casual conversation. So what brought you out here?
I was living out in Phoenix for about 5 years and got to know the community. And then little by little I started sewing and selling. So then I just saw a great opportunity to come back out. I live in Yuma now, so I just commuted from Yuma to here just to be here for the event. And it's our first year, I think, so I wanted to be involved with it.
That's beautiful. And so this is like probably the first Indigenous Peoples Day event like this that you've seen, right?
Yeah, Phoenix, yeah.
How does that make you feel to have just such a big space dedicated to just us as people?
That's awesome. I mean, I guess living here the past 5 years, I thought it'd be more community involvement. But this is the first year I think I feel more involved with the community. So it's nice to know that we're coming back around as people.
Yeah, that's awesome. You want to give us a little rundown of your art? It's beautiful. How did you get started? What do you have here?
So I do a lot of sewing. So I made the grandma bags. So these are like coin purses, and then I make makeup bags. And then I incorporate with the bows for little kid girls. And then earrings. I do a lot of graphic artwork, so I incorporate that within like the studs and the earrings. And then my artwork down there is my stickers. So, and then beadwork in between. So I was trying to think of something, like I could sell quick and fast. So.
Yeah, just encompasses everything: beadwork, sewing, graphic design. That's really awesome. That's super awesome. So, people in the arts, a lot of that art comes from, your lived experience and your culture and all of that. So, what's your inspiration here? Did you just pick it up? Did your grandma teach you?
So I went to school for graphic design. So I got my bachelor's degree from Cal State East Bay. And then because, I did learn from my aunties. My grandmother, not so much, but my grandma did make dolls in her time, so I think that kind of stuck with me to learn. So from that to my aunties, just like down the generations. So, and then I love art, so I wanted to do something, with painting and different things, but then I saw graphics, so that's how I turned into graphics, so I can incorporate. And then I love working with bright colors, so everything that you see, I always like to incorporate color into it.
Yeah, definitely a variety of color here, and it's so beautiful. I really appreciate that. So yeah, we have a good following on social media. Where can people find your work? Do you have anything online? Do you have social media pages?
On Instagram, I'm at _Jackson. So that's where you'll find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you for talking to us. Yeah, if you're in the area, definitely come support the work here and then follow her on her social media pages. And then we're going to go ahead and make our way around. And thank you for talking to us. It's great to have you here. Yeah, just a wide variety of artists here that's just so beautiful to have. We're going to come around here for one more interview. And I'm going to go ahead. Okay, did you want to take this one, Steph? Yeah. Okay, Steph's going to go ahead and take this interview.
All these water bottles. Sorry, we're just swapping mics. Hey, everybody. So we're live with NDN Collective. How are y'all enjoying the Phoenix Fest so far?
It's hot. It's fun, though. It's pretty good. We're enjoying the people and the artists around. It's very inspiring.
Cool. Well, tell me about your brand or your business.
I do beadwork, but this is all I have right now. But my aunt does these, and my grandpa does these, and my aunt does those. And it's just everybody in the family's doing something. We really are a family business. Our elders are very crafty and everything, and it gives them something to do, but they don't really know how to sell for themselves, so we like to come here and represent and motivate them to keep them busy and everything, creative,
Yeah, that's so important. Like, to come out here, see the community, show off your work that the family participates in, right? And then also, get to meet all these cool people, right? Make connections. And I really do love, this sign, these key holders right here. This is so pretty. I need that. I'm going to circle back and they're $25. Okay, they're $25. If you're here in the Phoenix area, definitely come and visit this table. What's your brand's name?
She-Bots, and then this is my sister's brand. It's NDN Cool.
Cool. Do you guys have social media where we can follow you?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
It's a sticker.
Very cool. All right. Awesome. Well, thanks for chilling with us and letting us showcase you on our platform. But if you are here, definitely visit them, say hello. They have some really cool stuff that's family made. And then we have their information. They're doing a toy drive later this year in the winter time.
Besides it's Salt River's easy. We really take them into our hearts and everything. We love working with Salt River Reservation people.
Very cool. Well, thanks, y'all. I'll probably tag you later on social media. Cool. Well, yeah, we're just going to walk over here to this other vendor. Okay. Actually, we're going to take a short break right now. So thanks for tuning in so far. It's been a really cool day. I hope you're enjoying the live. But yeah, see you in a few.
Yeah. I'm gonna go over to the native games. Can you look? Good. Ready? Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. We're still here at Phoenix Fest, and we're going to go ahead and talk to our friends at Native Games. Hi. How are you?
Doing good. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Can you introduce yourself to us?
Yeah, hello, everybody. My name is Kevin Cherisposi, and I'm from Laguna.